Well, hey there, everybody. It's a Monday night recap video, even though games are not over yet. The night's about to end for me. I've got to get up early tomorrow on a big day. So we're almost 11 p.m. on the East Coast. There are a few hockey games and basketball games actually still finishing up, but the majority of them are over and it's worthy talking about. First, we'll start with NBA. The Nuggets are fighting with the Lakers right now, closing toward the end of the first half. Lakers have been leading in this game. We would not expect that to continue. We would expect that the Nuggets will win this game. Did you watch the video today where I said take the Magic plus 5 points because of Cleveland's health number? If you haven't learned the lesson already, never listen to me, always listen to the algorithm. And even though Cleveland's health number was a little bit lower, this is playoffs and people are actually playing defense. And Cleveland was never in doubt in this game, leading by 20 points through most of it. Algorithm's right and they win, overpowering their health number. Didn't matter that the Magic were healthier. The Knicks steal one from the Sixers. This is the one that could have gone the way of the Sixers. Last second win for the Knicks, somehow keeping the streak in place with the algorithm not losing any games. If the Nuggets hold on or come back or whatever, win, NBA algorithm will be a big old fat 13-0 so far in the playoffs. If the Nuggets win, let me know tomorrow if they won. So that's NBA. How about hockey? Well, Toronto must have heard me saying that they lose in the playoffs all the time because they found a way to win today. And also, it was Olmark instead of Swayman. So the one thing you can guarantee in game 3 is that it will be Swayman, even though Olmark did not play bad. It didn't matter. Actually, I noticed that his goalie rating is about 2% lower than Swayman, so you're definitely going to see Swayman in game 3. Close game that, look at this. Actually, the projected score really favors Toronto more so with Ulmark in this game. You're definitely seeing Swayman in game 3. That's all I can say. Your NHL coaches, statisticians, all things like that. Yeah, they have a piece of the algorithm when they do some analysis. So Swayman's absolutely playing. That I can guarantee you is that Swayman is playing in game 3. As for the Islanders in Carolina, you can kiss the Islanders goodbye. If you were rooting for the Islanders to win this series, you're done. I would actually consider betting the clean sweep of Carolina going 4-0 in this series because the Islanders had a lead with 2 minutes left and they lost. Not only did they not lose in overtime, they lost in regulation with a lead, 2 minutes left. Carolina just was on top of them most of the game. The Islanders looked like they were shorthanded even when they were ahead. They just didn't control the puck much. Carolina's a very strong team, and they proved it tonight as they come back and get a win even when they were down late. So Carolina in 4, it's my guess there. We've got action right now in Vegas, Dallas. It is 4-2 Vegas. Mark Stone is back off the long-term IR, and he's scoring right off the bat. This team has some heart in the playoffs, and they are up 4-2. It's not 4-2 the other way right now. Second period, Vegas is up 4-2, and Edmonton is absolutely all over LA. Not even close. I'm sure Stuart Skinner will give up some flimsy goals at some point, but I don't think it matters. Edmonton is going to be outscoring LA. LA is going to end up going with David Rittich. If you look at the goalie stats, you'll see that Rittich's stats are actually great. He has a really good rating. When we look at the goalie stat numbers, where is Rittich? We could look at just LA goaltenders for a second. We'll show you this. Uh, hmm? Yeah, he's at, well, actually, he's at a 72% rating. He was, he was 13-6 this season, goals against 2.2, and a save percentage of 921. You're going to see Rittich at some point in this series because I've never been a huge Cam Talbot fan. As you can see, Talbot's rating is actually lower than Rittich's by 3% here. And I've also just, when I say never listen to me about my astute observations about hockey players because they're actually know what I'm talking about. And so I think you'll see Rittich maybe even in the next game, especially if it becomes a romp with Edmonton really scoring a lot of goals. And boy, they're just lit out of a cannon. that's a team that's probably going to win this series here, because LA's just got some issues with goaltending, and Rittich will play them better, but I don't think even he is going to change this. So NHL loses its first game of the playoffs by having Toronto win, and we might even be losing with Vegas tonight. So it might be a two-game loss tonight. We shall see. Now let's talk about baseball. So the reason why I started to do this video right now was that San Diego did hold on to win 3-1 against Colorado. That was our pick of the day. And for those people that didn't like the 176 line and wanted to take them on the run line -1.5, you also won. That is beneficial. So once again, I believe it's the 6th day in a row. Pick of the day wins. There's one day I didn't make a pick of the day, but all 4 games, there were only 4 games that day, all of them won. So we're just going to say the pick of the day won 6 days in a row. And yeah, they pull it off, and good for the algorithm. Atlanta wins. Kansas City does not show up, but the under came in. Did you hear me talking about the under in the video? It's like 9.5 is too much for this. They only put up 8 in that game. So the under hits. Baltimore's winning right now. It's not over, but they're up 3-0. Detroit won 7-1. Arizona blows one late in a very close game, but I said stay away from it because the margin was all screwed up. Philadelphia wins. Yankees were way down here, and Oakland actually wins. So this is one where the odds makers have the Yankees as the #1 pick of the day. We have them as the 8th, 9th pick, something way down here. 8th pick, and they lose. That's us beating the odds makers pretty hard on that game. White Sox. I bet the White Sox today. A lot of different combinations wanted to have the White Sox as the #1 pick today. The White Sox lost 7-0. Are we going to learn our lesson? So basically what happened is Chris Paddock had a rough game against the Orioles where he let up 9 runs in 5 innings or something, which, made his ERA and WHIP look really bad. He did load the bases at least once for the White Sox, but the White Sox lineup factor of 1.8, like really you want to compare stats, and even though they're going up against a bad pitcher, they're so terrible offensively that they just can't convert. They get shut out by a pitcher who's got 8 ERA. I think that the White Sox are going to have to prove that they can win some games before we're going to be putting any more money on the White Sox. And I'm going to talk about the combinations and some things that we'll have to note when we're looking at them, because like I said, a lot of the combinations had the White Sox as the #1 pick today, and they lost 7-0. We can't be having that. But I understand why it did that, because it's weighted heavily on the starting pitcher. It's just that the White Sox offense is apparently not a professional offense. And I mean, even if you put a pitcher that's got a terrible ERA up against a bunch of little leaguers, he's probably still going to strike them out, right? So that's the problem there. Mets are losing 4-1. We'll see. Hopefully they can come back. Otherwise, all 3 underdogs lose in this combination string of 491. That's not good. That's not beating the odds makers, even though the top looked pretty good. And Pittsburgh somehow wins a close one against Milwaukee. So I ran the macro already, even though the games are not over yet. I just wanted to see some things. And there was a combination that won 9 games. It was combination 81. I wasn't a huge fan of it when I looked at it, just because it was screwy. But then I saw combination 488 again. And I'm like, we were using 488, right? Like this one goes 8 and whatever. Let's throw that in there. So let's throw 488 in there because we've been using 488, right? Haven't we? So 488 does this. Instead of 6 and 5, it goes 8 and 3. Looking pretty good. You actually get Oakland at the bottom here. He does even better things with the Oakland Yankee game. Can't argue with that. Mets game not over yet, but they're probably going to lose. Kansas City's offense, Brady Singer didn't pitch as well as he should have, and their offense just wasn't there. There's something's been wrong with their offense the last few days, but it's got the freaking White Sox on top. So I'm okay with going back to combination 488 because it did this, which is a fully profitable day. It's profitable above 10% margin. Look at that. You're up 50% on the top 6 games. Everything over 10% margin wins except for the White Sox. So what we'll say is that that there are some really awful teams. And while lineup factor matters, when you see this lineup factor that is so much worse, almost a little more than half the lineup factor of many other teams like Milwaukee, like Atlanta, that they're just terrible. They're just terrible. So we'll just have to understand that when we look at the analysis of the game, that we're waiting so much on starting pitcher. Your team has to have some offensive potential. And until somebody gets worked into the White Sox lineup, you're going to see this on top. And I'm just going to be like, yeah, I know the algorithm says that the White Sox are going up against a bad pitcher, but they're still the White Sox. And you don't want to touch them, because that's a lesson I learned today, because they lost 7-0 against a terrible pitcher, against a pitcher that normally wasn't pitching well, but everybody looks good against the White Sox. So anyway, if you watch the private video, which I made public right about 7 o'clock, a lot of that stuff won. A lot of that stuff won. San Diego won. Philadelphia won. Detroit won. The under came in the Kansas City game, even though they lost. A lot of things like, we worked under that combination 491, which I will show one more time. But I just want to, I want to say that I'm glad we took San Diego and not the White Sox as the pick of the day. But just seeing this, yeah, like I'm not going to complain about things above a certain margin winning and being profitable. I mean, how many days in a row have our top margin games been profitable cumulatively? That's not, I mean, I always say you can't win every day. The MLB algorithm for the last week has been winning almost every day when you're following that logic. And it's just saying that margin matters, sticking to the top matters. And once you start getting down to these lower margin games, they're toss-up games. And if you're going to be betting on toss-up games, you're going to win 50% of them, you're going to lose 50% of them. That's the whole point of it, of those games being close. So paying attention to the algorithm and really refining your picks and making smarter, larger disparity game type picks results in things like San Diego finding a way to win 3-1. Atlanta not being close. Hopefully Baltimore holds on to win. Poor Kansas City doesn't come in, but Detroit wins. Arizona kind of blew it. Philadelphia wins. Right? I mean, you're not profitable if you bet every game, because we have these ugly ones down here. But the Yankees, you shouldn't play anyway. Anyway, that's my update, recap for Monday. Will be just a private video for baseball tomorrow. 8 more days of me doing baseball. Boy, is everyone going to be pissed off when I stop doing baseball at the end of the month. I do have like cataract surgery still coming up, and I'm going to have one contact lens for like 3 weeks to a month. I'm not going to be doing too much, but stuff's going to be busy. I don't know. I get really burnt out. Let me just say that. There'll be some weeks where we don't win every single day, and I'll get really burnt out real fast on doing this. So I'm not going to commit to going past April 30th yet, but we'll see what happens. If we keep winning like this, I do see reasons why there's a good idea to keep going. But the other thing that will happen is that the odds makers will just start to emulate exactly what I'm doing if I keep doing videos, and the value will be lost. As you can see, it's kind of a mixed bag right now. I'm switching around combination strings so fast on them, and the odds makers just don't know how to react. And that's what's yielding some crazy underdogs some days, and also doing things like this where we've got massive favorites they have way down on the other side. And while we have like the Nationals over Houston and stuff like that at underdog lines. And had the White Sox pulled something out today, you would have seen the all mayhem would have broken loose if we could have pulled off a White Sox win, but they're just so bad. Just so terrible. There's nothing you can do about it. So anyway, I hope you played Padres, and I hope you won. I found a way to lose money today. I played too many games, and the day's not over, but I think I'm losing money. I'm pretty sure I'm losing money. Not a ton, but I'm losing a little bit, because I had things like the White Sox and the Orlando Magic and the Bruins and the Mets and Kansas City. So that's why I'm probably not winning today. But I did have other things that won. And I also have Dallas and they're losing to Vegas. But I have Edmonton. So we'll see what happens. And I have the Nuggets. So if the Nuggets and Edmonton, if Dallas comes back to win, I actually might be up money today, but I don't know if they're going to do that. So we'll see. Good luck, everyone. I hope you had a good Monday and may all of your picks be winning. See y'all later.